Hi guys, it's Rob here. I wanted to take a moment and talk to you about looking after yourself in a different way. So I'd often talk to you a lot about my skincare and hair care, but I don't often talk to you about fragrance. And I don't know why, because a lot of you who already know me, I have a massive fragrance collection. So I'm going to start showing you a few of my favourites. Now, I might have an obsession with a certain company, and it might be Jo Malone. So I want to talk to you about fragrance and what we can do to kind of really set our moods. And for me, there's nothing better than getting out of the shower, doing my face, doing my hair, and then finishing off with a quick few spritz of a different fragrance. And the other thing is with Jo Malone, you can layer those fragrances as well. So you can put two of those fragrances together. So it creates a bit more excitement, especially at the moment where we're all sort of sat at home twiddling our thumbs. It can be really important just to add that kind of just variety to the spice of life. So I wanted to talk to you about some of my winter fragrances, what I find myself going for most during the winter months. Well, this is one of my new little collection. I got this for Christmas, and it's the Myrrh and Tonka from Jo Malone. It's one of their intense fragrances. They're a little bit more sort of, I'd like to call them spicy, earthy, a bit more vivacious, and they're really good if you are looking for a fragrance more for like, if you're looking for a fragrance from a man in your family and you think, you know, even though Jo Malone is that unisex fragrance, you think, you know, they'd want something a little bit more earthy and spicier. The intense fragrances often come to that. And this is one of my most favourites. So this Myrrh and Tonka, I'm going to try and describe the scent other than you're just going to have to go get it. I just think it's that real warm cuddle in a fragrance, and they do a shower oil in this as well, which I absolutely love. And it's really nice to do the shower oil, get your whole fragrance, and this is honestly one of my bedtime fragrances as well. So I pop this on before bed, which, although you might think that's crazy, but when I go to bed I have a fragrance on. If not for me, but for my partner as well. It's always nice to have that kind of smell. And I think a lot of the time you do tend to find yourself taking that deep breath, that moment of, and if you're wearing a nice fragrance, it just does that. So that's a really good go-to winter fragrance. Now, a cult favourite, a classic, and it's one of my fragrances I started with Jo Malone. It was my first fragrance I ever started with, and I started with their bath oil version of this, and it's the Pomegranate Noir. So this is your sweet, spicy, fruity smell. Love it, and it's the reason why I remember this a lot. I used to work for Estee Lauder, and I was on my feet for 8 hours days. I know, minimal compared to what some people do. My feet would really hurt at the end of the day, and I remember when I first got the Jo Malone Pomegranate Noir bath oil, I remember sitting in that bath and taking a deep breath, and it was the one thing that brought me back to my house, relaxed me. And that's another thing to say about fragrances. They're so important because we've got that neural complex in our head that as soon as we smell something, we associate that with that moment. So now Pomegranate Noir will forever be associated with that amazing bath I once had. And I love this one. It's sweet, it's fruity, it's spicy, but it's not crazy, it's not crazy sweet, it's not crazy fruity. It's got that real nice balance to it. And I tend to pick for this a lot in the winter months, especially if it's cold, if it's icy. I tend to like this one as well. Now, one of my favourite fragrances, and again, this has a story behind it as well, is my Ford Portofino. I got this many moons ago. I've got literally 3 sprays left, and then I'm going to have to repurchase it. Many of you know this is a very expensive fragrance, so I'm putting off having to purchase it. But I do love it, and it's a really nice winter fragrance, and I often struggle how to describe this now, but it's very leathery, earthy, sweet, floral. It's everything but so balanced, and I love it. Now, the story behind this one is, some of you who know me, a couple of years ago, I had a tonsillectomy that had a post-tonsillectomy hemorrhage, so I had emergency surgery to stop that from bleeding. Now, I hate hospitals with a passion, and I remember my partner brought me one thing from home that I never expected him to bring me, and it was this. It was my Portofino fragrance, and it was the one thing that actually made my experience far more comfortable. Having that fragrance to go to and spritz myself with to make me feel like I'm not, you know, on my deathbed, which I was. It just changed that moment. It changed that moment, that mood. And for now, it will always be associated with that soppy love shit from my partner. Anyway, love that one. Another Jo Malone, spicing it up again. This one is, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think this was a limited edition. Either that or the bottle's limited edition because it's iridescent and I love it. But it's their White Moss and Snowdrop. And this is more of a lighter fragrance. It has that kind of earthiness to it as well, and I love it. So especially in the cold weathers, I do like this White Moss and Snowdrop. A little fun fact about snowdrops for you. Did you know that snowdrops are the first flower to bloom in spring? And they were brought over to England in the 14th century by monks. You learn something new every day on my channel. I love this, and I tend to go for this a lot. As you can see, I'm already quarter of the way through, and it just smells lovely. Why not? Now, a lot of people who know my fragrances, I don't tend to go male fragrances or female fragrances. I don't tend to believe in all that. You know, I believe in genderless skincare as well. I don't really think that fragrances should have like a man or a woman's version. Now, Chanel du Bleu de Chanel, it's typically classed as a male fragrance, but it doesn't say for men on it or anything like that. But this is their real aromatic, woody fragrance. Oh, and another thing I love about this, it's got a magnetic top. Not gonna lie, things like that really get me going. Anyway, I really like this one because it's really woody and aromatic, and it's what I want. It's what I want to smell when I want to cuddle up and be cozy. So I do often get this and spritz this on Nate, my partner, because you know, fragrance isn't just for you. And I really like this one, and I tend to go for this more in the winter, because if I want to have that kind of winter walk through a forest, that's what I would smell. I'd smell that kind of woody aroma, and again, I just love it. So yeah, as you can tell, fragrance is quite important, because everything that I've kind of discussed in my sort of winter journey today has smelt and evoked those emotions and what has happened in my past and things that are happening. So every time you smell a particular smell, you'll associate that with a memory. So I always think it's so important to diversify your, you know, your flavour profile, as it were, when it comes to your fragrances. So I'm going to leave a few links down below to these fragrances and some of my other real favourite fragrances, a few niche indie brands as well that I really like, and just for you to have a look, because I think if there's anything you should treat yourself in lockdown, it's a fragrance to change your mood. Because let's be honest, if we're sat around the house doing nothing, what's better than just getting up, make a cup of tea, have a spritz of perfume, fragrance, cologne, whatever we want to call it. It's really important, and I think we should all just look after ourselves, and what better way than just changing it up with a different fragrance. I would absolutely love to hear what your favourite fragrances are, what you look for in a fragrance, what's your favourite top note, middle note, bottom note. That's another video we should talk about in fragrances. But leave me a comment down below, tell me what your favourite fragrance is, what your favourite top note is, what you go to most, and what you found yourself can't live in without. Or even better, I'd love to hear your stories associated with fragrances. So if there's a particular fragrance and it evokes a memory, a story, tell me about it. But yeah, thank you so much for watching, and I will speak to you next time. Bye bye.